Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, recently suggested, and these were comments that were made to the Las Vegas Review-Journal as part of an article that primarily was focused on Mark Davis's intense objection to putting tarp over the first 8 rows of the seats at his new stadium. He's got this new toy and he can't fully play with it, right? It's like you got this new toy that you've wanted forever and one of the pieces is broken and you got to send away to the company that made it to send that piece. So until then, you've got a toy that is missing one of its pieces and it pisses you off. I can't remember what toy it was for me, but haven't we all been there? This toy that we really want, we get it and something's broken and we try to make do with what we have. That's Mark Davis with his new stadium. Something's broken. He can't have seats in the first 8 rows and he's mad about it. Well, in that same article, he pointed out that they may have to do a bubble concept by the time it's all said and done. That it's one thing to protect players from fans, but how do you protect players from players? And maybe their best bet is to do a bubble approach. Look, I don't think a bubble approach is going to work. And it's definitely not going to work if you are coming up with a bubble approach on the fly. Like, it can't be plan B. Bubble's got to be plan A. If you're going to pull bubble off, bubble is plan A, and bubble was put in place 3 months ago. When they didn't begin to make the plans for a bubble, that put them on the path toward a non-bubble environment. And I wrote about it March 29th. People thought I was crazy. You take everybody to a remote location. You build enough fields to play 6-7 games simultaneously. You have a whole complex there. You build dormitories. Look, it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be easy. And it's not something you can throw together on a moment's notice. But that's the best bubble for the NFL because there's too many people. There's too many people who would break the bubble. You need a true bubble to make it work for the NFL. If they would take all the teams to Las Vegas, maybe that's why Mark Davis is suggesting the possibility of a bubble approach. Maybe he wants to host the NFL in Vegas this year. How do you keep everyone in the bubble? Think about it. 65 players per team, coaches, support staff, family members. Presumably they'll have family members there. You're gonna pull these guys away from their families for 4 months and dare suggest the possibility of a pay cut when you're doing that to them? There's gonna be guys who bust out of that bubble, nightclub, 10 minutes away, whatever the case may be. And then if they get the virus there and they bring it back to the bubble, you got a problem. So I just don't think the bubble is practical. And I think if the NFL finds itself thinking about a bubble on the fly, if you're in that position where you're having those thoughts that you need to do that, the better approach may be just to pull the plug and be done with it. And I hope it doesn't come to that. I have been rooting for months for football to happen. There's a group out there that seems to think, not like an organized group as far as I know, but there's a collection of individuals of like mind. They think that anyone who points out the things that the NFL should be worried about in order to pull off the season, those people are rooting against the season. Well, no, we're rooting against the NFL being as oblivious as way too many people walking around without masks are. Because if football season doesn't happen, one of the big reasons is going to be too many people were either too selfish or too dumb to comply with the guidelines and do the things aimed at slowing or eliminating the spread of the virus. Period. So get mad at those of us who have been saying, what about this? What about this? You need to think about this. You need to think about that. And go ahead and be blissful in your ignorance, because those of you who decided that this was simply the flu, those of you who decided to listen to the charlatans out there who are trying to make a buck by telling you what you want to hear. Sometimes we must eat vegetables. We can't have candy. Sometimes we need to pass on the candy. Well, you've got these folks out there just force-feeding candy to the people who want to feel like they're okay, that they're not jerks for failing to do the things that they're supposed to do. And that's part of the problem. It's part of the problem. And the folks in the media who have been pushing that BS, special place in hell, as far as I'm concerned. I hope I'm not there to witness it. I hope I'm not there to say, man, he's really got it rough. Oh, wait. Anyway, that's all I got to say about the bubble approach. I'm concerned, but I'm still cautiously optimistic. And I hope they get it figured out.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.